what happens is that galleries, even when they are artist-run spaces, they start to homologate. And Myymala started as a space, it was started by a lesbian couple who had the idea to create some space that was completely alternative to the mainstream culture. And they started from the point of view of LGBT plus culture. And the most artists that were shown in Myymala were comic artists, street art, graffiti art, skateboard culture, all these type of things. This legacy is continuing somehow, but the main mission of Myymala is to hold in the very center of the capital a space that is really interested in taking risks, in giving space to artists who are even at the first solo exhibition in their life, as well as artists who are very well established. Why? And what's the interest of these two very different career types to work together? Of course, a young artist needs to start, and if nobody gives the opportunity to young artists to start, they will never eventually go forward. And it's nice to start in a space where also established artists are seen, because it's a good career step. And why the established artist would be interested in showing in the same space? Well, established artists mostly, they end up caged into the same type of audience, into the same type of work, into the same type of response. And to work together in this other environment gives the very important opportunity to established artists to upgrade their work in the audience perception, but also they start to see differently because they see the reaction of the young audience and they start to make themselves questions. And it's necessary that all generations keep making themselves questions. So our space, it's really strong with these aspects where the community we build, we try to keep it really heterogeneous. We don't want to homologate the audience nor what we show. This is a very specific step. We are not interested in branding as a something that can be grabbed as a single object. Complexity is never brandable. So this is the main aim of this space. And in a center, not in a marginalized area, industrial, blah, blah, no, in the smack center of the capital. That's where we want to stay. We don't want to go to the periphery. No. That's too easy. That's what everybody else has been doing because space has not been given to this type of initiative to stay in the central points. So.
And was this the goal from the beginning, from 20 years ago?
Yes, yeah? Definitely. The girls and then the first board that was there, they were all really all over the place. They invited super established American artists together with a young up-and-coming artist, 19 years old from Finland. You know, it was always the goal to create a space where there is real bubbling situations, where everybody's learning from each other without preconception on, oh, this person must know more because.
Yeah. And are there new questions now for you as a board?
For the group.
For the group?
Now, we started in 2017 as a new board, so we are actually still building up.
Yes, but we started with zero budget. When I came in, the budget was zero.
If I tell you the turnover of Myymala was 4,000 euro per year.
I mean, it's literally, we started by putting our own money into it because there was this huge problem of...
Yeah, because the board was totally imploded.
Yeah, they had imploded.
And now we have grants from the state, grants from the city, project grants, because we have been able to show the importance of the role.
But now we are going, it seems that we are coming to a new step because we have received for the first year this sort of steady funding. And now we're gonna, I think we have to figure out where we're gonna go with it.
Of course.
But this is a lot, then now we have been doing these festivals, so we do 2 festivals a year. 7 of 7 for performance art, and then the Relational Art Week.
Yeah.
And this is really interesting to us, how these festivals and also the artistic practices that come in with the artists and the community, because we're really doing like social community.
And in the previous festival in 2020, C Foundation performed in the Relational Art Week. We were super proud. That was amazing performance. Everybody was like, it was amazing performance, yeah.
The foundation performed.
The foundation performed. Yes, yes.
That means that was really quite unusual.
Yeah, we were thrilled of that opportunity because it's like one of a kind, definitely.
It was very much like the foundation too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the performance was in fact depicting the alliance of the
Of what we wanted to achieve.
And this performance aspect, you started when you opened the door for me, like you want to talk about this performance aspect of what you, Is that what's also interesting for you to put into this maybe Hotel Solo?
Absolutely, yes. Because the performance as an art form is shifting very fast. I see it how in the young generations of performers certain needs are carried out, and how the more established and less porous performers are actually catching up on what the young generations are doing. This is very interesting, and it's a field that is very fast shifting. I cannot predict how. My ins is that it's shifting more into relational processes, but not necessarily. I don't know. We'll see. And for me, of course, all these social aspects, all the questions about audience are automatically put there with performance art, because you need the body, you need the presence, and you cannot do any performance art with being unaware of your audience. So that is an aspect that it creates so many questions when you start to do it. And then also I'm curious, in a space like yours where you have never done apparently performance as main.
No.
What happened? Then we were scouting with C Foundation, with Riet and Jan Willem, and apparently in your region you don't really give attention to performance art, not as much, not 1/4 of what happens in Finland.
No.
There is
But if we
contemporary dance, but that's not, I mean, of course it can be brought into a performance art context. I'm not talking about live art. A DJ, a VJ, a dancer, musician, they work with live art. I'm talking about action performance, I'm talking about performance art. It's a little bit different.
Yeah, very different.
Yeah.
We see it, I see it with the students. We have an art academy in Breda, and you see performance, we see it at the students. They are doing it.
Yeah, there's definitely a sort of...
That's true.
I've noticed that the internet has kind of brought music students, because I come from a music background, but I work in contemporary art, so I see that the students are really coming together and trying to figure out, because they're all friends, but how can we work together? What can we do professionally together? And this has been really interesting, in Finland especially, because the universities have been coming together as institutions, which is not a great thing for the institutions themselves, but the students have been part of this movement and are part of this movement towards kind of creating multi-art and something in between. I'm not really sure what it is yet, but it's definitely happening.
So we see how bubbly and how helpful it is to include this type of contexts in an organization, especially if you are thinking of restructuring. This can help some rotation in your perception of your position and of your mission also.
I mean, one thing I think which we have advantage in Finland over other institutions is that we work very fast sometimes, and that's been my choice. Has been to
give me the bag.
so my choice has been to try and organize an event every day, or at least accept an event every day at a very high pace. I mean, this has been exhausting sometimes, where people call me up and then say, can I do a performance during the weekend or like tomorrow? And I just say yes, and then we go for it. And this has also brought an audience that we never seen before, because these people don't always belong to the establishment, and because it's just a performance for me. I just want to have people inside and see what happens and what kind of things happen. And I'm not so, my curatorial kind of vision is not so kind of focused on one aspect. I'm curious of what people do in general and kind of the phenomena of human activity. So for me, it's been very interesting to kind of try to, this is because we're all a bit different, so we have different kind of visions of what we should do. And this is also part of the richness of the gallery, is that we have this sort of thing.
Yeah, and also there is people who work different paces, and this is molded inside the organization in different paces of the actions. We have long-term projects that can be 5 years, 2 years. There is the exhibitions, which are selected 2 years ahead. And then there is the festivals and the events that can happen literally. Today you call me, tomorrow it happens.
Well, the
festivals
are curated,
are curated and stuff.
but
But
like events and
so there is these 3 different years and layers. Because also, of course, sometimes you have ideas as an artist, and the idea you have now, you know you are going to make an exhibition in 2 years. And you would need some form of dialogue with the space or with the public situation earlier. But it's very seldom given. It's normally, you know that, okay, I have now to write forever about this thing, I don't know what it is, in order to get the resources and the space, and then eventually at some point. So I think it's very important that there is space for this spontaneity, where you can try things on a comfortable level in public, with the process wall or with the events, and then you learn something from the response of the audience, and then you go forward, and then maybe you create a larger project out of it, or you discard it simply because it wasn't as good as you thought.
And if you had with your organization Auto Solo in Breda, what would it mean for you, for the organization? Where would it help you?
Well, of course, for us, all international relations are absolutely precious. That's how we survive. Because international collaboration, and I think that would be the same for your organization, I suppose. I don't think it's so different. When you operate internationally, the people you operate with at home receive automatically more recognition. And if you only operate locally, which is very important, we stay local, we are proud of having very good relations locally.
Definite place.
It's a different type of placemaking, completely different type of placemaking. Then also you create more opportunities for the crowd at home, because then inevitably other collaborations start between the artists themselves. They take initiative. They see, okay, you work with C Foundation. Maybe C Foundation will work with the artists completely independently from our collaboration. But of course, maybe some situations are born.
Or institutions, institutions contact us to be partners in projects that help artists that they're working with. This has happened.
The international sphere is fundamental to survive as an organization nowadays. It's I don't know how without, basically.
And artistically, will there also be some profit in it for you?
Of course.
Have you
because
thoughts about that?
The way you work, it's a way that nobody does in Finland. The way you work, at least for what I understood until now, you pair museum collections and museum curators with an artist and maybe a curator or not, only the artist, and then you create a dialogue in the space, and also perhaps a conceptual dialogue depending on how people feel working together. This is something very clever, I think, and something that I've never seen in Finland or anywhere else, done in such an intense manner. I think it's clever for the artist, and it's very clever for the museum to do it, because they get to take out pieces of the collection that otherwise are there and they are shown like once every 20 years, and they need to justify why they keep these collections in these boxes. So you created something unique. I'm really interested in interacting with such ideas and environment. It sounds something vital, it sounds something necessary. So, of course,
Mm-hmm.
I know that it would have big repercussions for us in terms of prestige culturally and as an organization, as the individual artists, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Then I will put my